We got Carl's name.
Huh?
Carl sitting here? His name's here.
No, he was,
here for streets.
sit in. No, why don't you sit,
A little.
I'm fine if you're fine.
Who's over there?
Nobody's on the other. Kim, do you know Chris? Chris,
Yeah, nice to meet you.
everyone's here, right?
isn't Dick Shoulders or Dick?
Dick's not gonna make it.
He's out too,
Yeah.
or just not making it.
Is he just not making it tonight?
As long as it's Tuesdays, he's not making it.
And Chris, did you ever
For the
meet
summer.
Leslie face to face?
Maybe.
The, planning interview.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there you
Nice
go.
to see you.
Yes, nice to see you.
So do we look for another one?
Do we have a packet over there for this or no?
Yeah.
Yes. We don't have anyone.
I gotta look at the structure requirements for it.
I think Chris needs
Do we have a certain set number we had to have?
You,
Well, I don't,
actually,
I-
with
we
Kim
did.
on it, Kim was always in Overage,
it.
so now that she's a resident, she counts as being, count her as being.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bill. All right, let's
You
go.
know, I never thought of it that way, but it could be true, I don't know.
The midlife crisis, yeah.
are you a village resident?
No, then
Don't sign it.
Don't, yeah, don't sign it.
well, don't sign
I
that.
thought you lived in.
No,
Yeah,
don't sign it.
Thought you lived up
To run for council.
Yeah, have to get you to sign.
Okay, call the meeting to order. Well, I guess, let me check official.
It's 6.
Is it?
Yeah, that clock, we had that clock
Yeah,
set,
okay.
we had that
Good.
clock
We'll
set
call the
tonight, so
meeting to order.
accurate for one night,
Um,
maybe.
Agenda, are there any additions or deletions to the meeting? I'd like to add one executive session for, how would you word that?
Potential litigation.
Potential litigation.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, and the minutes, could I have a motion to accept our minutes of our March 9th meeting?
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, let's go right to the old business work. Well, before we do that, let's let Chris introduce himself.
Chris, you have a mic? If you push the button.
Hold it towards the.
Oh, just so that it's
Make it
up,
tall.
and then you're on.
I believe I'm on. Okay. Name, Chris Mikalakis, resident of the village for 15 years. I'm a general contractor, and I had interest in this position just because I have a genuine interest in the village and how to keep things moving forward. So I appreciate the opportunity, so thank you, and I'll do my best to fill the role.
Another Glen Valley resident, too. We're starting to dominate.
You know where you have to look, and
Exactly. You gotta look west.
okay, workforce, labor, transportation, housing, et cetera. Last time for the notes, I know we talked about,
So before we get into that,
yes, okay.
I happened to notice Woodcraft is advertising for weekend help. You see that? To me, that's genius. Craft Made works Monday through Thursday. They're looking for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday workforce. So if you're young and ambitious, or just ambitious, you could work 7 days a week if you wanted to, and I think it's a $16.50 an hour rate. So that's the kind of synergies I think we need to discuss with the leaders in this community as far as how they can help each other doing things just as that. Starting times, as they're talking about transportation, there's got to be some kind of continuity between it. It can't be, silos here, 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 and here. It's got to be, we got to be talking about the farms, so.
Continuity and flexibility.
Right. Exactly.
And just to update Chris, the main focus, because this EDC meets once a month, but not necessarily mandatory, it's as needed. And so when Ben took over as mayor, they were meeting weekly, trying to get things going in the village. Then we went for a period lately where we didn't meet as often.
Quarterly.
Quarterly.
Till COVID hit.
And then, and the biggest problem facing employers in town right now is they can't get help. Everybody has help wanted. I know, for example, Mr. Hero, they don't even open the restaurant because they only have 2 employees right now. So they're lucky to be able to run the window, and, yeah, they could go out of business if they, so we're trying to figure out how do we help the village and the employers get people. So I don't know if we can answer it, but we're gonna try.
I came by Industrial Drive today. If you come from the south, coming north, it looks like a picket line. Every company in that Industrial Drive has a sign out by the road saying, help wanted, help wanted, help wanted, help wanted, help wanted. So we talk about getting this new company in this Stony Point Metals, 60 employees, which is great. And they'll probably, but just think how hard we work and what we do to get 60 employees. Kraft Mini's 300 people. That's 5 of those factories in one place that's already here if we could just get it supported. So that's why we got to be thinking. Is your little hat up?
Talking with a client in Ravenna this week, and he employs about 50. And he researched costs of trucking people down to him. He ended up buying a van, and he comes up here and moves 11 people down there every day.
From Middlefield. Wow.
Amish girls.
So I went to Solon this morning at 6:15. And there was more cars coming east than there were going west. On 422, which surprised me. Coming this way, and they're not going to Warren.
It's picked
where are they
up a
going?
lot.
What's
over
that?
It's picked up a lot over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
How about the construction business? How many employees do you have?
I recently just went on my own this past year. I do a lot of the general contracting on projects, ironically and unfortunately not in the greater Middlefield area. I do a lot of projects, Shaker Heights, Cleveland Heights, Hunting Valley, Menor. A lot of the sub-trades live out this way. Electricians, plumbers, from Chardon, Middlefield. So I'm just surprised. I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
I was gonna say, is the construction business lacking in people? I mean, are jobs not getting done because?
No, there's too much work and not enough workers.
Yeah, but that's what he's saying. You have,
Oh, I'm
you have the
sorry.
same, you have the same
Yes,
experience.
I'm
You
sorry,
can't
I
find-
apologize. Yeah, it's
Right.
the same problem. I mean, the painting contractors, way too much work. In his words, no one wants to work. Guys either want to show up and get paid more than, I guess, their fair value, or just don't want to come in and put an honest day's work. So, but I'm surprised that there's that big of a lack of workers in a small village like this. That's eye-opening.
Well, what do we have, 8,000 employees?
So Flambeau needs 65, that's a known number. Crab made it 300, needed 300. And they've got signs everywhere that you go. They've got them at every intersection that I go to. Mercury needs what, 30?
30, and that number, let me tell you, I think what's happening is, there's this big attrition cycle going on, because we'll hire 10, and we'll lose 12. Because apparently they find a better job or a more better paying job somewhere else.
I think Biden will take care of that. Don't worry about it. Get everybody making $8 an hour again. So anyhow, we need to be thinking, what we wishing and hoping doesn't do any good. We got to figure out a way to do something that actually brings value. And I think if I made $16 an hour and had to drive 40 miles to work, I drove to Lincoln for 26 years, but I didn't make $16 an hour. So you need a dependable car to get, so it's like all those things, it costs money to do that. Put 30,000 miles a year on a car, you got to make some money to maintain it and keep it dependable so you can fulfill the requirements. So think transportation is a big one.
We need a list of businesses whose business is transportation. Bus line.
Well, Leslie's done some, she's done some legwork on this.
Yeah, so I've been calling around. I talked to Geauga Transit. Geauga Transit they have the ability to contract with you at $2.85 a mile. However, Geauga Transit is closed on weekends and holidays. So that kind of wouldn't really work unless everybody who was using that, and it's expensive. So I did contact also Eastgate, which is the planning organization for Trumbull, and they also help the Mahoning, and they assist Ashtabula. And they suggested doing more of a van pool kind of idea, if that would work. That may work in this area. They gave examples of Ashtabula they have bus lines that run north of 90, and then they have van pools, a nonprofit that does south of the rest of the county. They've identified their hotspot, their large employment areas, and that's where they kind of try to pick up and drop off too.
So how are they funded?
They're funded through the same way that,
Saga Transit?
yeah, it's called I believe it's called a federal 311 funding. And in that, there are very specific things for rural, because it's a rural funding, there's very specific parameters. So it may be too specific for what we're actually trying to do.
So is it privately run, or is it,
It's the
Saga
Ashtabula.
Transit is not privately run, that's
No,
that's the
Geauga
county.
Transit is county.
What was that, Jefferson? What'd you say? Oh, the jogger.
Geauga Transit's county. The community, what's it called? Community Neighbors, I believe, is a private organization. And they do their funding. I can ask them how they do theirs.
The wine's throwing around a bunch of money for transit systems, I mean, transportation. And I don't know if you can throw that money at a private individual to make it so it's viable.
I don't know, so I contacted our MPO, I got in touch with NOACA. They're starting a van pool program. They're trying to tailor it, figure out how it would work. So I've been talking back and forth. They're still in the very infancy planning stages because they know they're gonna receive funds for this type of deal. So it's kind of, I think we're at the point now that we've done a lot of lead work, and we know maybe the van pool, if we want to focus on transportation, may be the way to go. It's just, do you want to talk to the businesses and see if they want to do more of a private program or a public program? Because there's a lot of other nuances that go into it too, like you have to obviously employ your drivers, your insurance, the cost of the vehicles, the cost of the maintenance. You know, what do you do if your vehicle's down?
We got 1 million taxi drivers running around this town making money.
Oh, I'm not saying they're not, like, yeah, I'm not saying they're not. We as a village can't tap into that.
So this guy in Ravenna, he said that when he researched costs, they were wanting to, if he hired out, they were wanting to charge him $1 a mile plus $1 per head. And so that's why he ended up buying. And he said he's also only paying $9.50 an hour now because he's paying for the transportation.
It's working out, he's got all the
He
employees.
loves it. He said they were such impressive workers. He said a machine went down and they had nothing to do, and without anybody telling them, they went outside and pulled weeds.
So
Exactly. So it makes me wonder if, if there's an organized effort privately by a company that says, we'll pick up here and at this time, if it's just a matter of getting the word to the right people.
So if you're gonna make money, it'll be accomplished tomorrow. Somebody be entrepreneurial enough to grab it, and if you're gonna make money at it.
So
It
just-
seems to me you could make money at it.
yeah, I was just wondering, is he writing off?
I
their
didn't get any more
transportation
information than that. All I know is that he bought a van, he hired one of his guys that wanted some overtime. He drives up here very early in the morning and picks up 11 people. He hasn't got any room for any more. He's thinking about buying another one, and drives them back, and this guy is happy to take it because he wants the extra time.
Yeah, because there is
And
transportation.
John Bonner's apparently doing the same thing. Trucking Amish girls.
There's a few places that are small that do it. We're talking about, we need to bring in 60 people, we need something besides a 10-passenger van.
I think Hartville does this. They've got a van, I do believe, from what I heard. I don't know the details over here.
So how do we get a handle on people that are being trucked out of Middlefield to work?
Truck them back.
We could leave them here and work, you know?
So I think it's gonna take industry telling us how, and if Hartville's doing it, we should invite them to the table.
I heard they
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean,
Well, last time, we talked about putting a group together of local industry.
Right.
And, I've got a rep from Mercury if we wanna put that together.
yeah, I'll do that. I got a name from Dylan now that I didn't know who was doing it there. They changed so much. And I know, I talked to Jason from Flambeau the other day. He's ready to go. I haven't talked to Craftmate at all.
Yeah, Mercury's ready. Now, my son-in-law works at a high-end woodworking place out in Drexville, and he's talking about bringing a van in to get Amish, because he used to do it when he worked in Merritt, up in Merritt. He would come down here, they had a van, they came down here and took Amish up to Merritt.
We saw that when we went there, remember?
Yeah, we've tried to recruit, they wanted, their workforce is coming from here, we try to get them to come here, and that's high end.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the next step?
I think it would be to bring, maybe just create a meeting with the business leaders. So I wrote down some of the names everybody was saying, and we can try to get in touch with everybody.
Can even be a noon meeting, I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
We just need to get their ideas on paper.
Do any of those businesses have their job postings like on our website?
Yes.
I mean, it's a link you can get to, right?
Yeah, if they want them on there, they do send it. I do talk to their HR managers and things like that. They also,
That was getting a lot more visits. It isn't as much, so we probably need to refresh it.
Remember when we first redid the website with Margie, we had some commercials out there that were on like Channel 8 and
She's
whatnot?
talking about doing during the NFL draft.
it was too, no.
Was it too expensive?
Yeah, and they were sold out by the time I went to go look.
Oh,
So what if on the new sign, we put something up that says, hey, don't forget to check our website weekly for new information about the village?
we need to get that out. It's hard to put that on the sign, but we need,
Isn't it?
yeah, but how do you get that kind of message where you're going to sit there and somebody's actually going to see what you're trying to say? It's like, it's not, you know.
It's really obvious that there's jobs available. We've got to come up with some idea of reason to keep them here and find out why they're not.
I just think,
So,
oh, no, go ahead.
Great Lakes put out a tremendous edition. I haven't heard him complain once about help.
Well, they pay like $28 an hour.
He's doing something similar.
Hauling?
Great Lakes,
Yeah.
the cheese. Epic, he is doing something similar. I was on a couple calls, and they are looking to do a van pool. They're looking to use Commute, which is the Ohio Commute van share ride app
Where are they going for their people?
anywhere. They didn't say like, this is our pickup spot. They're also using temp agencies that do transportation. There's a couple other businesses in the area that are doing that as well. And then I think that's all that he said. He's not the company that was using the,
Maybe I'd include him in the meeting. I mean, the guy puts 1 million square feet on it, seems to be not afraid of
Yeah.
supporting it.
I
Yeah,
wonder
no,
how many
they-
employees is that involved? Because that is a huge addition.
I'm saying it's got to be huge.
Yeah.
I mean, he's supposed to move 200 corporate jobs here just for starters. So it's like, correct?
Yeah, I think the factory, if you will, was 300,000 square feet. I don't know about the headquarters, but it's a brand-new building.
That may be a phasing thing. I haven't talked, but it's like, that's a heck of an investment. You got to support it with labor. You don't,
yeah, I can get a hold of him, because he was where, he was talking about the Oak Commute, and it's free. The state of Ohio created it with all of the transportation organizations. They all help fund it. And then you can go on there and create ride shares, and then if you have a stop, you can put it on there, and people can start looking and say, oh, okay, I want to ride share here, ride share there. So it'll take movement to make it work, but at least some of that first level infrastructure is in place. 'Cause everybody uses apps. I know it's Amish, but they use them too. Some of them.
High schoolers. They approach them or like Auburn Career Center.
Yeah, the,
Go to Penn State Barron's over in PA, you probably did too, to get some, plastics engineers.
And we had a call the other day with Jerry Serino, and he's talking about how we need to get kids groomed for the workforce, but this is beyond that. I mean, the school's got this new
yeah, they're
equipment
doing
that
it.
ShopWise teaches,
Yeah.
it's pretty impressive. But it's, these people are looking for a body that'll come to work, and they'll train them. It's like, this isn't where they don't have the skills, they don't have the, they just don't want to get there. You got to get them out of bed. I mean, like, so,
Yeah, so they are, and there are some groups, I sit on a couple boards where they're trying to tackle that issue on the education level. But like Ben said, it's not going to solve the issue right now. You're looking at kids in middle school, so they have a few years in order to pick their path. I mean, you're not going to get those kids that have been trained at the Career Center and at, Cardinal's CNC machine until for another couple of years.
and that's important as well, but we are looking for basically, I don't want to call them bodies, but we need numbers.
Yeah.
I wonder if all the businesses are having these same meetings we're having right now. I mean, I'm sure they're all trying to figure out how to get workers, but
I've sat in on a couple, like I said, that's where the one came up, where John was on. And not all of them, obviously. I'm sure there's a million more different ones that they do. Also with the Ohio Manufacturing Association, it's it's not just relevant to here. They're also doing the same thing, trying to figure out how to get people back to work. Also knowing that the pandemic may have sped up retirements of some individuals, and knowing that we already knew the workforce was going to be short just because of the population-wise, it's kind of flung us into this new space right now where there's a lot of people trying to figure out how to get people and attract people to come.
Well, GDP doubled. So that, I mean, that's the thing. We need more help than we needed in the past. And then now we're giving money away so you can stay home forever if you want. It's just a bad scenario.
Yeah, and you hear a lot of it too from like the restaurant industry and other industries as well. They can't get people even to come into work. So hopefully that will end and then people will start coming back. They'll have no choice but to come back to work, hopefully.
yeah, maybe after the vaccine actually kicks in 3 or 4 months and cases really do start to drop, then all of a sudden you're not going to have your rent forgiveness and everything. People are going to need jobs,
Okay, let's get a meeting together.
Okay.
And if we have 2 people there, it's better than, let's get us rolling, at least let them know that we're,
You want me to open it up to any Geauga or just keep it more Epic and the Village?
More input, the better.
Or just for a first go around, just keep it more local?
I mean,
Who would we be
The-
excluding if we stayed in the village?
Everyone who's not. I mean, no, I didn't mean that to be like funny. I meant like there's a lot of manufacturers close in the area, like right down 87. Yeah, like there's, and I wasn't sure if I just want to ask now, that way.
I would probably just start with Village
Yeah.
personally. The problem is you have a meeting like this and you have 40 people there, then it's all just a bunch of, I think it gets out of control. Too many people talking and.
Okay.
I agree. Plus, they are competing.
Right. We're here to support the Village businesses.
Every laborer, every worker is being competed for today, so.
What could it's funny, because like, we're trying to solve their problem by getting them employees, but what can the Village possibly do for the employers to make it more incentivized for people to work for them?
I think that's why we need to identify what's gonna help. What are they should have the answer why they can't get help. And I know location is a big one. We're not in the heart of it all here. I mean, we're in the heart of it for Middlefield, but,
Right.
you go outside the gate, there's not a lot around.
And talking to others, some know why they're having some issues.
I'm saying, they may have, I'm sure they can identify, and I think we need to say, okay, here's the issue, and we can help by, but we need to identify first, because, as I
Remember-
said, there's tons of income tax money out there we're not getting, and we can invest some money to help get that. I mean, if it was an ROI, I think we should be talking about it.
When we had the guy from, or the gal, I think it was from Cleveland State, come in here and help us identify
Yeah.
our market. Do you think Cleveland State has anybody that like specializes in this type of thing where we could approach them and some student or, I don't know.
Trying to think, was it Kirby? What was her name?
Yeah, it was through the,
Date or Kirby
Yeah.
Dale or
She
Kirby.
did a really good report
Kirby
of
Date.
where all the population is that way and why
Did
they
you
would
work
come to
with her, Leslie?
Middlefield versus
Yeah.
Warren.
yeah, it was through the College of Urban Affairs. Um,
Or if it's, I don't know if it's worth reaching out to them or not, but
And her,
Bring them into the
it's a
meeting.
national
Yeah.
Bring them into the
epidemic.
meeting and hear the issues that they're thinking of the issues.
Yeah, I don't see why you couldn't. I mean, you could
Qualify.
even, I mean, they're a very well-renowned, community development and planning college. I mean, you can also.
Do you feel
bring in-
odd being the only person in this room with a mask on?
Oh, I didn't even notice, to be honest with you. I didn't even notice. No, I don't.
You
I'm going
don't?
to keep it this way, just to be the oddball.
So far away from anybody.
I didn't even notice. So you can see my face. I'm so
Wonder
used
if,
to them.
Again, I'm trying to think of things, because again, solving the problem for them, they got to figure out how to get people there, you know what I mean? It's more, what can the village, do? Like, I even thought about, do we just say, any new employee doesn't pay local income tax for 1 year? You know, like, so when they're interviewing these people, they can, hey, we've got this, $100 Walmart card, like a signing, I don't know, I'm just trying to think that way, what can the village give them, so when they're interviewing people, they have something to say, this is why you want to come to Middlefield.
that's assuming they're interviewing. We've had to find out if they're even getting people in the door to talk to.
Yeah.
That's how you get them interviewed. There's an incentive out there to interview. Sign-on bonuses, I mean, Mercury's,
Sign-on.
I mean, to me, that's the part, we need to partner with them somehow.
Yeah, that's where I'm.
I fully agree. This isn't, but if we can help support a transit system or help coordinate, or, if we can get grants for that or funding, and we should be looking at that, in my opinion.
Some kind of a public-private partnership
Right.
that might consist of.
Get a CDL, Dave?
Actually,
You wanna buy a bus?
Yeah, I tried to call that company in Elkhart who takes the bus to Gary, but nobody's called me back from there yet, so.
Yeah, it's a pretty common thing, and a lot of our companies are doing it now in some small capacity, or they have their staffing agency is doing it. So I think it'd just be maybe able to help them identify where some pockets are. Even start looking at pockets in Ohio and maybe in Western Pennsylvania where there's high unemployment, maybe create some incentive for moving. Maybe do it that way, for home purchase and actually settling down.
It's a solution to every problem. Incentive to, there is, I've heard areas that give incentives for people to move in.
Yeah.
Not just
Maybe
tax-
not like super
Not
crazy.
just tax abatement, but they make it so
Yeah.
you're gonna live here, you'd be an idiot to live here.
Are there any companies in the village that offer daycare that we're aware of?
There's some that have contractual agreements on like pricing and things with the daycares. I know that. I don't know if any of them, if there's any that offer in-house.
Yeah, I used to sell steel to
We
this
used to
place
have-
down
we used to
in
have one.
Worcester. They had a huge daycare thing, because they were a big company, 500,000 employees, whatever it was, and they had a daycare right on campus. Craftmate's big enough for something like that.
It could make a difference for some people too.
Single mom or something can't work, because
Good idea. We should talk about that. Of course, you'd
I
Or
don't-
maybe working,
deteriorate every other daycare in town.
well, yeah,
The,
or working with the daycares, maybe to provide some sort of, I mean, I know you hate incentives, but maybe like a subsidy if this person is working at one of these locations, they get a voucher or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know what daycare costs, like 30, 40 bucks a day if you drop it off.
We had a girl working for us who was single, and government paid for her daycare.
So, from experience, on a basic level, like if you have a baby, it's about $350 a week.
Yeah.
If you're not getting assistance. And then that's just one child.
Wow.
Well,
So I just know that from experience.
Yeah, and to go take a $16 an hour job, it's not worth it.
And sometimes those people can't take a 16-hour job because maybe it's a quarter more than getting the $350 a week for the daycare. So they stay at the place that's a little lower. It's messed up.
All right, let's get another meeting scheduled. And I would keep it,
Contact that Kirby Day.
Eight.
Are we, Leslie?
I can reach back out to her. I'm sure she's not a student
not-
anymore.
she won't be the one.
Yeah.
that organization. They should-
I can reach out to Cleveland State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An executive session?
Yeah. Chris,
All right, give me 1 second.
can I get a motion?
Sure, I'll motion that we move to executive session.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And then you should go over the rules of executive session for Chris.
You can do that now while we're waiting because we have a minute.
Basically, just that it's confidential